What is going on, everyone? Breaking news if you haven't found out already. The Houston Texans are placing cornerback Derek Stingley on IR. He is dealing with a hamstring injury. Will reportedly miss 6 to 8 weeks. If you remember, a hamstring injury is what cut Derek Stingley's rookie season short last year also. You have some fans labeling him as a bust. But this is a huge blow to the Houston Texans defense. Yet another key player going to IR. Now, the past 3 to 4 hours, there's been a lot of criticism thrown at general manager Nick Caserio. The recent draft classes, free agency classes, moves that he made, and the Houston Texans have only won 7 games in 3 years. Should Nick Caserio be on the hot seat? We're going to discuss this next, guys. Welcome, everyone, to the 713 Houston Sportcast. I am your host, Ruben Calvillo. I drop daily Houston Texans content, so make sure you guys are following me on my Twitter, Instagram, TikTok for the latest Houston Texans news, rumors, and updates. And if you're new here to the channel, welcome. Trying to hit 8,000 subscribers by week 4 or 5. Please help me get there, and thank y'all so much for watching today's video. Man, this Derek Stingley news is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because I sat down here and I told you guys he was going to be a Pro Bowl, all-pro type of player this year for the Houston Texans. And once again, he showed why you can't rely on him. You know, the funny thing about this injury right now is that it happened on the last play of practice. The last play of practice. Look at this tweet from Aaron Wilson. On cornerback Derek Stingley, hamstring injury occurred on the final play of practice Wednesday, and then the MRI determined severity. Could miss several weeks and be placed on IR, which is the expectation. Do not forget, Derek Stingley, rookie campaign, ended early with a hamstring injury. And once again, will now miss 6 to 8 weeks with the hamstring injury. So he will be back the game against the Arizona Cardinals. But are the Houston Texans in a situation record-wise where they even bring him back? This blows because you look at where he was drafted. The number 3 overall pick in last year's draft, you are supposed to be a franchise type of player. Look, the question is not about the product on the field. We know that when Derek Stingley is out there, he is a superstar. But the best ability is availability, and Derek Stingley has showed you he can't be available. And you look at the cornerback taken behind him, Ahmad Sauce Gardner, no injury issues, an All-Pro nod, and a Defensive Rookie of the Year award. This is heartbreaking, man. And it goes back to the moment where we were all thinking about, who do we draft? Do we take Derek Stingley or do we take Sauce Ahmad Gardner? With Derek Stingley, it was an SEC cornerback, played shut down against other wide receivers who were taken in the first round in the draft. With Gardner, it was a 6'3" cornerback, didn't allow a touchdown in college, great attributes, and the only knock on Stingley was not healthy. Lower leg issues. Missed his last year at LSU with a leg issue. So you had to take a chance. Do you go on the safer pick, Ahmad Sauce Gardner? Or do you take a chance on Derek Stingley? And the Houston Texans took their chance. And I'm sorry to say that it failed so far. I say so far because Derek Stingley is still young in his NFL career. We don't know what could happen. But right now, he showed you he cannot be available. You cannot rely on him. And the question that I want to ask Houston Texans fans, let me know in the comments down below. Is Derek Stingley a part of the Houston Texans' future now that in back-to-back seasons in his young NFL career, he showed you he cannot stay healthy? Is cornerback now one of your biggest needs in the offseason or in the draft? Man, I don't know. But a huge blow to this Houston Texans defense and a huge blow to Derek Stingley, man. Now, switching to general manager Nick Caserio, The idea of him no longer being the GM of the Houston Texans has floated around this entire year. Let's not forget, after the Colts game, when they had their end of season press conference, he sat in front of everyone, looked as pale as a ghost, and said multiple times, if I don't do my job, someone else will be in this chair. This was before hiring head coach DeMeco Ryans. He also said multiple times that the clock is ticking. The Houston Texans only have 7 wins in the past 3 years. It doesn't look good right now for Nick Caserio. Then, before the draft, if you remember, there were reports, whether they were true or not, but there were reports that general manager Nick Caserio might leave the Texans after he completed the draft. And now, 3 weeks into the season, once again, a question around the same topic. And I ask you guys, let me know in the comments, should Nick Caserio be on the hot seat? Do you see a situation where he gets let go in the offseason? And shout out to VT, the Brown Chubby Bear, one of the hosts of Texans Fan Battle podcast. Go look up their YouTube channel. He brought up the last 3 draft classes from Nick Caserio. Let's start with the first one. 2021 draft, Davis Mills, bust. Nico Collins, he looks like a stud finally. Brevin Jordan, bust. Garrett Wallow, bust. Roy Lopez, bust. Last year's draft class, Derek Stingley, bust. Kenyon Green, bust. Jalen Peters, a stud. John Mechie, he has him labeled as a bust, but I don't want to give John Mechie, that label just yet. Dealt with cancer, man. That's not easy to come back from. But you need to see more from John Mechie this year. He was also someone you traded multiple picks up to get. Christian Harris, to be determined. Damian Pierce, stud, I agree. Tegan Quitoriano, he has him labeled as good. I mean, maybe I'm there. Austin Deckley is bust. And then this year's draft class is just to be determined. Now you look at Nick Caserio's free agency classes. I mean, this year I don't want to judge him because it's barely week 3. But Dalton Schultz, you would have thought they would have utilized him more like he was with the Dallas Cowboys. Devin Singletary hasn't shown you nothing. But this entire running game hasn't showed you anything. Robert Woods has worked out solid for you. Shaq Mason, who you traded for after a tough week 1, looked very good against the Indianapolis Colts. Jimmy Ward, we haven't seen him. We see him in Jacksonville. Denzel Perryman, he did not practice today, hand and wrist injury. Sheldon Rankins has looked good. So I'm not really going to judge those guys just yet. But when you look at the previous free agency list, I mean, there's nothing to write home about. I mean, Jerry Hughes, Steven Nelson, I mean, you could chalk up as W's. I'll give you that, Nick Caserio. But AJ Cann, Mario Addison, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Obo Okoronkwo, who you let go, Marlon Mack, Royce Freeman, OJ Howard, that's not something to write home about. Nick Caserio's first ever free agency in 2021 where he was just signing players left and right. Let me know if any one of these guys made an impact. Kevin Pierre-Louis, Terrence Mitchell, Jordan Jenkins, Justin McCray, Philip Lindsay. We were excited for Philip Lindsay. Christian Kirksey. Hey, Christian Kirksey just retired today if you didn't find out. Shout out to Christian Kirksey. Mark Ingram, Danny Amendola, Rex Burkhead, Chris Conley, Chris Moore. And when you look at what did these free agencies brought, only 7 wins in the past 3 years. Look, general manager Nick Caserio, he does deserve to be on the hot seat. The Derek Stingley IR, man, makes him look really bad. And then it begs the question, when you start this offseason and you have so much money, do you just cut ties with Nick Caserio and, hey, start fresh? And DeMeco get someone that he trusts and he believes in? Or does this team turn it around and Nick Caserio somehow saves his job? You guys let me know in the comments down below, but tough day for the Houston Texans, man. For more content, follow me for more. You guys have a very blessed day.